Good morning, students. I am Shilpa teacher. Yesterday we have learnt respiration, excretion, responsiveness to stimuli and movement, characteristics of living things from our chapter number 2. Today we are going to study remaining characteristics of living things. They are reproduction, definite lifespan, and cellular structure. First is reproduction. See this picture. From this picture, what you can say? Plants or animals, they are having the ability to produce new ones exactly like them. This process is called reproduction. Living things produce other living things like themselves. Some animals give birth to their young ones, some lay eggs. Their young one hatches out of the eggs. New plants are produced from the seeds, stems, or leaves of plants. So in this way, plants and animals, both they are producing new living things exactly like them. So reproduction is defined as the process by which a living thing generates a new living thing like itself is called reproduction or procreation. In this way, reproduction is a characteristic of living things.
Reproduction in living organisms. Have you ever wondered how young ones of living organisms are produced? When living things reproduce, they make new living things. Reproduction is the process by which living organisms, like humans, birds, and animals, form new individuals of the same kind. For example, look at this nest, and the eggs laid by the pigeon in it. Some of these may hatch, and young ones come out. Different living things have different modes of reproduction. Some produce their young ones through eggs, for example, hens. Some give birth to the young ones, for example, human beings, cows, dogs, cats. Do you know that plants also reproduce? Like animals, the mode of reproduction differs from plant to plant. Reproduction in many plants is through seeds. Plants produce seeds, which germinate and grow into new plants. Note that some plants also reproduce through parts other than seeds. For example, a part of a potato with a bud grows into a new plant. Lastly, there are also plants that can reproduce through cuttings. Let us perform an activity to learn this method of reproduction. Cut a branch from a rose or a mehendi plant. Fix it in the soil. Water it regularly. Observe it after a few days. What do you find? We find that the cutting has got small new shoots. This activity proves that plants can reproduce through cuttings also. However, at times, it may not be possible to grow plants from cuttings if proper care is not taken. living things produce more of their own kind through reproduction. But different organisms have different ways of reproduction.
Next characteristic of living thing is definite lifespan. While learning first characteristic of living things, that is growth, we have seen we are taking birth, after that we are becoming young, then we are becoming adult, and ultimately we are becoming old. So we are living our life for particular or definite period. After that we dies. That is same case. The same case is with plants also. Plants are also developing, they are growing, and ultimately they also dies. So all the living things, they live for particular time of period, and after that they dies. This is called definite lifespan of living things. This lifespan, or the time over which the living thing is living, is different for different animals and plants. At certain stage of life, living things become capable of reproduction. After reproduction stage, their organ become weak, and still later their life comes to an end. For example, your grandmother can be able to do the work as fast as your mother is doing, or whenever you are playing on ground with that much energy, can your mother or father play any game? No, because when we are young, that time our energy or our strength is more, and as we grow, we become adult, we become old. So our energy and strength reduces, we are becoming weak, and ultimately when we become old, after particular time we dies. So in other words, living things dies. The lifespan of different animal is different. Like that, lifespan of different plants is also different. For example, the lifespan of the dog is about 12 to 18 years. Means the dog can live about 12 to 18 years, while ostrich lives for 50 years. The lifespan of giant turtle found on Galapagos Island in South America is about 170 years. On the other hand, the lifespan of mayfly, it is a name of fly, mayfly, ranges from 1 hour to 24 hours. So in this way, definite lifespan is the characteristic of living things.
Living things have a definite lifespan. All living things have a definite lifespan. They remain alive for some time and then they die. Different kinds of organisms have different average duration of life. Some plants like wheat and maize live only for one season, whereas rose, bougainvillea and trees like peepal and banyan tree live for several years. Some trees remain alive for several hundred years. The giant redwood trees in California have been growing for over 2,000 years. Non-living things do not have a definite lifespan.
Next characteristic of living thing is a cellular system. For that, first observe these figures. Observe the honeycomb and wall. What are they made of? You may have seen the small compartments of honeycomb. These compartments are joined together to form honeycomb. In the similar manner, a wall has bricks. To construct wall, we firmly join bricks together. So our body is also made up of such small units. These small units are called as cells. These cells are very tiny. We can't see that cells with our open eyes. To see cells, we have to use microscope. These are very tiny cells. So we have to use microscope to see them. Our body is made up of millions of cells. All the actions and processes in the body of living things are brought about with the help of these microscopic cells. Each and every living thing is made up of cells. But some living things contains only one cell, while some living things contains many cells. Based on that, the living things are divided into two types: unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Just once again I will repeat. Based on number of cells, living things are divided into two types. First is unicellular organism and second is multicellular organism. One by one we will see. First is unicellular organism. Uni means one. So the organisms which contains only one cell are called unicellular organism. For example, amoeba, paramecium. These two living things are having only one cell. That's why they are called unicellular organism. On the other hand, multicellular organism means what? Multi means many. So, the organisms which contains many cells are called multicellular organisms. Their body contains many cells, so they are multicellular. For example, we human beings, cow, mouse, cockroach, elephant, banyan tree, onion plant, etc. are all multicellular organisms. All the characteristics of living things are seen in every cell of a living thing, whether it is unicellular or multicellular. All characteristics means up to this point whatever we have learned: reproduction, growth, respiration, excretion. These all characteristics are seen in each and every cell of living things. So, cellular structure means the structure which is made up of cells. Cellular structure is the main characteristic of living thing, even though the number of cells may vary.
The cell. Cells are to a living organism just as bricks are to a building. They are the basic structural units. Though a building is built of similar bricks, they are of different shapes and sizes. In a similar fashion, all organisms are made up of cells, though they differ from one another. However, cells are more complex structures, unlike bricks. The egg of a hen is the best example of a cell which can be seen by the naked eye. Scientists observe and study living cells using microscopes which can magnify objects. Dyes or stains help in studying a cell in detail by coloring the parts in a cell. There are millions of living organisms of different shapes and sizes. Their organs also vary in size, shape, and the number of cells they contain. Let us now take a closer look at the number of cells in a body. The number of cells in every single organism runs into billions and trillions. The cells in the human body are of many types, sizes, and shapes, and perform a distinct variety of functions. Those organisms that are made up of more than one cell are called multicellular organisms. Multi means many, and cellular means cell. The functioning of an organism, however, remains unaffected even if the number of cells in that organism is comparatively lesser. The life of every organism begins with a single cell. It is a fertilized egg that multiplies, and thereby the number of cells increase as the organism develops. As such, there are also organisms that are made up of a single cell and are therefore called unicellular organisms. Uni means one and cellular means cell. A unicellular organism can also carry out all those functions that a multicellular organism does. A single-celled organism, such as the amoeba, can capture food, digest it, respire, excrete, grow, and reproduce. Similar functions in multicellular organisms are carried out by specific groups of specialized cells that form different tissues. These tissues, in turn, form the various organs.